Carson Steele is interesting. He's a fullback, right? Running back, but really they have him at fullback. When we look at the guys who are returning, I think Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are locks. I think Carson Steele is kind of more relegated to a guy who they got rid of Anthony Sherman a couple of years ago. We don't need the other fullback role. And you brought Carson Steele last year, who filled in when needed when we kind of went down to emergency situations. But I think of these three guys, I think Carson Steele is going to have a hard time making the roster just based on the amount of running backs who are in that room. I know he's a fullback, but because of how many running backs we have that are talented, I don't see them carrying the fullback where it's something they've already been okay with eliminating in the past. That's where I stand with it. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what I told you about as far as having that extra blocker? It might not be the tight end. It could be Carson Steele. Could be the guy. Depends on how they want it. If he becomes a better pass blocker, that might be his role. So I wouldn't say that we offer him by no means. I don't. I think it all depends on what it's going to look like as far as in training camp, how everybody's going to look then. And believe me, they're going to test it out. They're going to test out, a few plays to see, okay, does it work better with Carson Steele or tight end here? How's it going to look? And so what we need to understand too, Marcus, is people are going to be coming after us. And they're going to bring four. Four used to get home on us, okay? And they'll do some more of that. Four get home and whatnot. But what do you do to take them out of that? You run the daggone football, right? So, Pacheco, gain another 10 pounds. Why? Because we're going to hand the ball off to you. Because we're going to get them out of that, 7-man coverage. You're going to get them out of that. So now what you're going to have to do is you have to come after it some way. And guess what? That's when we start road grading. So we got to be effective running the football. The way we're going to be able to beat teams down the field, we got to be able to push the ball down the field, but we got to be effective running the ball first. So the guys up front ain't just for pass blocking. It's them. Make sure that we gain some yards too, Marcus. So I'm not going to say Carson Steele is out of this by no means. You know what I mean? Not at all.
No, for sure. I mean, again, like you talked about in the past, the Sky Moore thing, there's a reason why he was rostered in the first place, right? But I will say, comparatively this year to what we had last year in that room, running back and fullback room, I feel like there is a lot more talent and a lot of more kind of, with Kareem Hunt kind of, complicates things, right? Because you have another guy who's been awesome in the offense, been great. You bring Eli Mitchell on. We'll talk about the new faces. But yeah, I do say he has a leg up on some of the young bucks that we're going to talk about later. But
I'm writing I'm writing the numbers down now. I'm going through the numbers. I'm just like, okay.
It's tough.
So,
it's going to be tough. So we like a lot of the guys in the tight end room even. There's just a lot of good. I mean, I'll say this: Brett Veach has done an admirable job because this is probably one of the better top to bottom rosters that we've had, and we're talking about a team that's won multiple Super Bowls over the last 7 years, and this is probably one of the better top to bottom rosters that I've seen. And just looking at our 90 man, which is pretty impressive.
So I look at it like this. Here's just right off the top of my head. I think we carry 7 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, 5 running backs, 2 QBs, and 8 O-linemen. I think that's where we're going to be at. Possibly 9.
You said 4. You said 4 tight ends.
Yeah, 4
okay.
tights. I think 4 tight ends. That's what I look at right now. So what's that? 11, 16, 18, and 8. There's 26 total on offense. So I think 8 linemen, 8 or 9. You could do 9, right? So
interesting. That's an interesting number breakdown there. I mean, the running back one's going to be the interesting one with the Carson Steele if they do keep him, if you do decide to keep him. Because I'm curious when we get to the new faces. I'm curious. We get to the end of this. I'm curious which ones you're gonna keep, which ones you're not. You said 5 running backs and fullbacks will be carrying. Who would be the 5 guys you would take just based on what we know right now?
Based on what we know right now, if I'm doing 5 guys, Pacheco, Hunt, Bashard Smith, Elijah Mitchell, and then Carson Steele.
That's the 5 you're keeping right now?
Pacheco, Hunt, Mitchell, Smith, and Steele. Yes.
All right, so Steele makes the cut. Yeah. Okay, so when you said earlier you're going to go with 5, I thought that Brashard Smith was going to be a practice squad guy. I thought you were going to keep. Actually, no, that makes sense. So 4 RBs and then 1 fullback. So yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, from what I know, and that's what, like I said, Elijah Young, he was going to put in some work to unseat to be in that room. But that's a good 5 right there. Pacheco, Hunt, Mitchell, Smith, and Carson Steele. Carson Steele is, he creates his value obviously on special teams. That's another thing when you had to have a guy like this. Carson Steele's a solid guy. He is. He's shown that his rookie year that they could trust him enough. Put it that way.
Yeah, he definitely has the trust of the coaching staff, even despite all the fumbles he had and everything. But Jenny, the one thing that it's interesting to me.
Oh, Marcus done hit him.
What?
Gut punch. Oh.
Well, no, I'm just saying, because you have to have trust of your coaching staff in order for because a lot of people, he's an undrafted guy, right? To do away with him. You've seen guys. We've seen guys that the Patriots have 5 touchdowns the next day. He's late for a plane. He's off the team. It doesn't matter what you do. But the fact they still kept him on the roster with that just tells you, how they feel about him. But my question is, and I've seen some people in the chat say this about Carson Steele, right? He's a fullback. He's a running back fullback hybrid. But the one thing I do want to see from my fullback, and that's something we didn't see from him last year, and that was seeing we saw Mahomes yell at him, not yell at him, but say something to him during games where he was kind of getting punked out there as kind of being a blocker for Mahomes next to him. And obviously, undrafted guy still has a lot of time to kind of become that guy, become that fullback. But that's something I want to see more from my fullback. I want him to kind of be a guy who you're going to put out there. Having him next to Mahomes, no one's going to touch him. Not a soul's going to touch him. And we saw him get blown up a few times last year. I know he's not a natural fullback. I know he's more of a running back who were kind of making him be a fullback. I want to see more. I want to see more grit from my fullback.
I don't remember that. I don't draw my memory of Pat getting on him. I don't remember something like that happening.
It was one of the games before the Kareem Hunt show began. Really, it was when he was and maybe you could talk to this a little bit more, JD. Like maybe he was getting a little bit too much on his plate at a certain point. Plays happen, right? Guys get beat on plays. That's not indicative of everything, but I do want. For me, I want my fullback to be a kind of a road grader, kind of gritty kind of guy. And he's not that. He's got more skill than your normal fullbacks.
Absolutely,
we're talking about. He's got a little bit more to his game. Yeah. But for me, I just want my fullback to be kind of more of your guy who you're gonna put next to Pat. He's gonna protect the heck out of him.
Well, you can't be afraid. You can't be unsure of yourself. And maybe what Pat was like, hey man, snap out of it. Like you're playing in you're in the big leagues now. You don't have the luxury to think about a play and what you're not going to do, not be confident. You're here. People are hurt. You need to come in and you need to come play. And maybe it's just, them yell, I won't say yelling, but maybe just, hey, like step it up, right? We've all had that conversation before. I've had a conversation before. So, my difference was I was yelling back.
And Craig Carson was just taking it.
Yeah. Well, who are you talking to? Oh, you Mr. Perfect now? No, I see. Okay.
But nonetheless, last year when we signed him, he was at Ball State and UCLA. He wasn't really a fullback. He was a running back. So it's like he's getting molded into this position to carve out an NFL career to be a fullback. So it's not natural to him. Right. So this position being a fullback is not natural to him. He's a running back who's being kind of converted into this role. So it's good. It's good. He's going to take some lumps. And obviously he did last year.
Yeah. Sammy Lofton, fullback cannot be. No, you can't. Shoot. Fullback, running back. Can't be. I don't care what you do. Either one. You're right, Samuel. Neither one. You can't be timid whatsoever. And everybody, they can see it. People wear fear. You see it in their eyes. You can see it in their gait. You can see how they approach it. You can see how somebody is decides to take a step forward. Like you could see it in every frame of what they do. And sometimes fear can capture a guy. It can capture him. So it was. He said he was an all-star or a Brandon Jacobs. Who Carson Steele, is that who you talking about?
Well, yeah, I hope he's not talking about Carson Steele.
All-star was a whole different animal.
True, man. They talk about guys who don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. That was funny too. During the pre-draft process, Cam Scatabo, he reminds me of Mike Allstott. No, he doesn't. What are you talking about? The amount of times I saw that, and I know where that's coming from. It's ridiculous. Do you not watch football? People comparing him to Mike Allstott? I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I think they were talking about his breaking tackles ability. I think they would give him, obviously the compliment on that.
Yeah, but Scatabo had a little more kind of wiggle to him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Allstott, you don't want to get in the way of Allstott. Whereas
no. Yeah, you're gonna be waking up with smelling salts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do believe that like Carson Steele kind of, and Linda Hunter said that Carson seemed gun shy after that first. He did, but that's exactly why Andy Reid gave him it right back. Hey man, we're gonna get back in the game. We're gonna give it right back to you. Why? Because we trust you. You belong here. You're here to make plays. And sometimes you need that confidence. Sometimes you need that swift kick in the tail. Get you back on it. Which your house said, do they still use spelling? They sure do. Sure do. I can tell them jokers when they doing it. They'll do it like this. They put it in their hand, or they'll carry it around a little bit. Yeah, they still use smelling salts. Sometimes people use smelling salts just to wake them up, to get them hyped up. So we used to do it all the time, man. It was the kickoff or before the game. It didn't matter if you were going down on kickoff or not. You're just getting it smelling salt. Okay, let's go.
To wake up. Honor Brown says he has that all-stop build, but day one all-stop wasn't a person we remember he grew into. With the right amount of touch, the Steele could be a 2.0 version and hold on to the ball. I hope so. Again, we're talking about the comparisons. I hope he could be a Mike Allstott. I hope so, man.
He has an all-star build. Yeah.
I feel like Allstott's bigger, though, right?
No, All-Star's bigger than Carson Steele. Yeah, definitely. Probably about like 25, 30 pounds, ain't he? But I see your point. Now, Allstott was a bad boy from day one. That's another difference. I don't think he came to his own. Allstott started out running jokers over. But it's two different eras, two different times, man. So look, who's
Allstott was 6'1", 248. And Steele right now is 6 foot 227, so about 20 pounds of difference there.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely different eras of football for sure. I mean, they don't have the neck rolls like that anymore. They don't make shoulder pads like that anymore.
Yeah. Stu says, "What up, Stu? Stu's out here. Mike Allstott got friends with him down here in Tampa. Tough fullback from Purdue. Oh yeah." And then he said neck roll weigh that much.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I remember jokers used to come in. It didn't matter what school you was at. Yeah, that's it. You always see some joker come off the bus, always looking like this. Just so come off the bus just like that. He like he the hitter. Oh, he got it. It's like he has skinny arms and everything. It's like look just like it come off the bus with the neck roll. You like
all big chested too.
Yeah. He said his joker right here he ain't goes crushing great. But then you have some suckers that was wearing that you already knew what time it was.
Right. The ones I remember, the guys that look like that, but like shoestring tackle. Like, what are you doing?
I tell you how you can tell. You can tell a Joker if they got like neck roll like his on. Look at their arms. If they are now, the arms match. Their neck and all this. He's the real deal. When you look at this Joker and it's like his jersey is flimsy, you're like, he ain't nobody. Oh man,
That's
so
good
funny.
stuff.
For everybody, that is on here. I'm speaking to the ladies about the neck rolls and stuff like that. It's kind of like one of those jokes, man. We see guys coming off the bus or coming in the building, they had the neck roll on. Well, Tasha knows neck roll and oversized shoulder pads made it look like scoliosis brain. Hey, for sure. Stewart, he is a joker. All-Star is a joker. That's a big joker is what he is. That sucker right there gonna hurt you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.